Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth race of the league. We are at my favorite track. It is Brazil. This is the track I've probably played the most of between this and Monza back when I was playing Grand Prix 2 on my Windows 95 computer. And Brazil was always the first one of the season, and Monza was always the quick play track. So those tracks in particular are embedded in my mind, and I know them so well. But obviously, the game has slightly changed since I was, 3 or 4 years old, and I'm still
When you're
good on
ready,
this track.
let's
I
go.
don't know if I'm the best, but I usually set pretty good lap times, and I know into this is probably the one that I'm favorited for. So this is a big weekend for me to get some well needed points for our team. I'm going to put up a little blip here of the points. Hopefully, it'll look a little less scuffed than last time, though. It's me, so it's not going to be much better. And also, I'm going to do it in the future, so future Mike, that's on you to do. Still, as you can hear, managing through COVID. It's just giving me the longest of long coughs and refuses to go away. I'm even on an inhaler now to see if that helps. Um, as I go out for my first out lap of the session. And at this point, I'm still. I should say, at this point during the race weekend, I still actually have COVID. At least right now, I just have the long cough. But here I am a little bit weak, but I am coming off the win in Spain. So I'm at a high right now considering how we placed there, and hoping for a very good result here. So now on to lap number 1 for qualifying for me. You can see I'm taking a wide line here. That's because I'm just trying to carry as much speed as possible. Do I really think the qualifying is going to come down to thousandths of a second, especially at this point? No, but it's good practice to get into to carry as much speed as possible. And you can see I'm, as usual, just putting in a banker lap, not really pushing the limits too hard, but this, like I said, this track is very familiar to me, so I feel very confident on it. There's only a couple places I know I have a potential to spin, but for the most part, every other spot on the track feels like I have a lot of grip. Even here, going really wide right to the line, but that's okay. My biggest concern is trying not to cook my tires. As you can see, they're already 100 degrees, and classic me is I can't keep heat out of my tires, mostly because I brake very hard and probably a little too late. I do need to work on that. As Checker sets a 108.3. I know for a fact I can do a 107 quite easily, and somewhere online I have it in the back of my mind that I've done a 106. So at some point I've done an incredible speed here, but I'll have to double check that because I don't know how valid that is. I just feel like I have, but I cross the line and I do a 107.7. So already I'm looking pretty good on the banker. If this was multiple qualifiers, I'd probably just not go out anymore. But as it is, I'm going to be going out on soft Slayer anyways as I get out of the way of the other cars there, make sure that they can have a fast lap, and I'm seeing if I can maybe go for another one after this one, but I actually don't have enough fuel, so I'll have to come back to the pits. So now on to my 5th lap. Still haven't been able to improve, but this time I'm really going to try and push it. As you can see here, I'm my back end threatening to kick out, but getting a good exit here is huge as I already go up almost a tenth right off the rip, and I'm also trying to give my teammate a bit of a tow to see if we can raise his time. Nice little cut in here. Maybe not as wide as I could have gone, but I'm already 2/10 now. So you can see just how much I was being a little bit timid. But I lock up a little bit and I almost run wide, and this is really gonna hurt my time a little bit, so I have to try and make up the time everywhere else. It's really really me just trying to push what I can here. So far my original first lap, that banker lap, is still the fastest out of everyone, but the time should still be coming down as more rubber gets put on the track as we go into the last couple turns here, and the long straight. Getting an exit there is so huge, and I'm a little bit sharp there, but we're still 3/10 up. Take a short line across the line, and that's easily going to be P1 as it's 3/10 better than my other lap, and that is going to be the fastest lap, and we're going to get P1. And we are just, as you can see, so much faster than the rest of the grid. Like I said, this was my track, and I knew that I could get a lot of points on this one. So now on to the race itself. As you can see here, the tire deg is not very high. The softs are going to make it a long time. And the mediums are just going to make it to the end. So what's going to happen here is there's going to be a lot of undercuts. Last week, you saw me do the overcut in which I made my softs last longer so that my mediums would be better. And you could see that could be a strat here. But I find that undercutting on this one can really help out, as I tend to burn my tires, and I find most people burn their tires really fast. So undercut's almost definitely going to be the strat. As we go into the 5 lights on pole, and it's a pretty good start. I get some nice speed right off the line, and I'm kind of holding the middle line here because I know that I don't want people diving down my inside, despite seeing, I think that was Moro who was sending it on checker, almost touching my back end, but we managed to avoid all contact there, and I'm going to try and put on my overtake, try and get as much distance as I can. DRS opening up on lap number 3, so I'm going to try and get outside of a second of Moro, especially while they are fighting Checker and Sinful not too far behind. God, why does my back end always want to step out?
Floaty ass.
Got that float ass. Everything floats up here, boy. 2 weeks in a row, I failed to do any sort of funny accent. Moro's obviously got some straight line speed.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
Oh, I'm slow. Moro's gonna get me with DRS here. Not gonna fight it. With DRS now open and a bit of a mistake for me, Moro is going to easily pass me, and I'm just gonna have to slot in behind. Oh, I literally have to brake. God, he must have slammed that battery. I didn't want Checker getting our DRS either, but he is now. So, just to elaborate on what I'm saying there, what I really wanted Moro and I to do is kind of work together to keep Checker out of our DRS, so maybe we could have a race between the two of us. But with him passing me and then being a little bit slow in the middle sector, Checker stays within the 1 second for DRS, and now it's a 3-way fight for first place. Though 3 is still okay, as you know, at least we have Sinful and Chills outside of DRS. But also, the DRS is so fast here that you can see just how much I'm catching up to Moro now that he doesn't have it. I only have to contend with his dirty air coming off the slipstream, but I figured that I should probably try and pass him to keep our momentum up, and he takes the inside line there. I'm going to go a little deep here, but I'm going to give him the space as best I can without going off the track, and we're really awkward here, and that fight was not what I wanted. I really wanted a clean overtake, but instead now Checker is right behind me. So now moving on to lap number 6, I see an opportunity to use my DRS to pass, so I decided to take the inside line. Moro actually, again, surprisingly fights it, so I have to give him room here, and I end up going a little wide, and that gives him a better exit. And I don't see it, but there's a little red marker behind me as a gap opened to the left there, and Checker thought there was a gap, and there wasn't, and both of us end up with damage, and we have to limp back. Really, really unfortunate. a bit of circumstances. No one really doing anything wrong, and we talked about it later, and we didn't put any fault there. Essentially, the circumstance was I was expecting to just take the inside line and Moro to go behind me. He ended up racing beside me. I give him a bit too much space and go wide. And as I make the turn, I give a space on my left that Checker can go into because he's had a much cleaner corner. And I suddenly close it off because I'm fighting Moro and I'm looking at him and not expecting someone to go on my inside, and he goes in the inside right then. But I also luck out on a VSC. Not so lucky that Moro missed it. That would have been really nice. But this is definitely going to help considering both Checker and I have to replace our wings. So I'm not going to call it a perfect free pit stop because everyone should be pitting as of right now. But I think there's a couple people who can't. And for the people who are coming behind, they had to deal with a delta, whereas I was pretty quick into the pit lane.
Until the green flags.
So at the end of the VSC, I end up behind Sinful and Sosa. I can't remember if Sosa had pit yet. I don't think he was able to, or maybe he missed out on it. I'm not sure. So I think we're actually in a net P3 or 4. You can see there my back end kicking out, and there's a bit of foreshadowing happening with that back end. But right now I just have cold tires. But the worst has yet to come for me. That crash is unfortunately not the end. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. There actually ended up being another safety car, and you can see now I'm in a net P3. But the restarts on Brazil are pretty simple, except on my inside here, Tristan tries to kind of go down the inside and cuts off the line a bit, and I think he ends up, going into the back of me and hitting the wall. Immediately after the race, he apologized if he caused any damage, but it was more so damage to him, I believe, than me. Him taking the inside line there was fine, and I tried to give him room. It was his line on the next one that essentially gave me no room. You can see that I'm also behind Sinful here, who is having internet issues as I get another warning, and I was a bit miffed about that because now I have to play it safe. That's actually my second warning on the same spot. It's just really easy to accidentally go over the wrong spot. As you can see, Sinful is really having connection issues, and I think I can pass him. DRS will be activated in a couple laps, and I believe I have the pace. Moro, though, is already getting some time to me, so I think a P2 is likely the best I can do as I ignore Jeff's call into the pits. So now I just gotta try and see if I can get past Sinful before DRS. That would be preferable, so I can use my pace to catch up to Moro. But if not, hopefully I just gain that back with DRS. But you can see I'm also playing it very careful because now a 3-second penalty drops me to 6th or 7th place. So really, there's a lot to contend with right now, and I can see Sinful's bouncing all over the place. I'm trying not to get damaged, but unfortunately some foreshadowing from earlier is about to come in. Oh, I'm gonna spin. No! Fuck! I can't even get back. Oh my god, dude. It is a complete disaster. And it just doesn't get better. At this point, my tires, as you can see in the bottom right, are red hot. And even here, as I put down almost no acceleration going into this, I get a little moment. Virtually no acceleration. The tires just are too hot to keep on the track. And maybe if it wasn't for the 2 extra spins here, there's a chance, but my pack right being 120 degrees, you know, I have zero grip right now, and even with the penalties ahead, it's just a long, long road. So not only am I gonna finish outside of the points, but because I finish outside of the points, my fastest lap, which was currently sticking, does not count. You only get 1 point for fastest lap if you finish within the points, which is the top 9. And I do not get it. And unfortunately, that's going to be the end of it. You're just going to see here that I've got the end screen. And at this point, I'm probably understandably very tilted. And as you can see, my teammate also had issues that race. He managed to at least get some points. I'm just going through some of the incidents. You can also see that my teammate got double warnings. Not that it mattered too much, but I couldn't even catch up to the people with the penalties because I ended up getting my third warning, and that gave me a 3-second penalty. So maybe if I just didn't double spin, I could have salvaged 4 or 5 points maybe. But when you are working with cooked tires and you are mentally frustrated from what has just occurred, it is extremely difficult to find the motivation and the right controls to keep yourself on the track. So unfortunately, that's how Brazil, the track that was supposed to be my best, is going to end. So thank you for watching. The next race, I am almost completely out of COVID. I'm pretty much as I am now, which is, you can hear it a bit in my voice. I've got my cough, but it's going to be much better. So thank you all for watching. I'm glad I at least managed to make a video longer than 5 minutes with this one. So enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.